Joyce, are you doing the recording part?
Yes.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Is that you, Mike? Lynn, can you hear me?
I can.
Great.
Just waiting for one more commissioner.
Hi.
Oh, Mike's here. Okay. That's all right. I think we have 4 commissioners, right? Michael, you say iPhone on yours. Yeah. Okay. So we can call this meeting to order at 7 o'clock. Special meeting. Basically, it's a continuation of the discussion that we had on Thursday. Is Jean on? She's not on yet. Right? Hang on. Okay, I was just trying to get to the email that Jean had sent me. Or sent us regarding COG. Hi, Abigail.
Hi.
Actually, Tricia, are you an alternate?
I am.
Okay, so we need to make a motion to elevate our alternate, please.
Make a motion.
Motion to elevate Tricia to committee.
Okay, and
Yes. Second that, or
do we have a note taker too? Not used to this.
is Blythe with us? I know she took him last time.
Yeah, I know. I don't think she's on yet, is she?
She did
No.
mention she's coming.
Okay, there she is.
Yes.
Hi, Blythe.
Hi.
Could you possibly be our taker again?
Oh, yeah, sure. I think I'm having some issues with my computer, which is why I'm on my phone right now. So just give me a second and see if I can even open up a document.
Okay.
Okay, it looks like I can do that. Hold on, I'm just gonna close that other thing I'm just trying to open. Okay.
Thanks, Blake.
Yep.
Okay. Called the order at 7 o'clock. We elevated the alternate, and we can move on to the point of the meeting. Um, I'm trying to find that.
I'm projecting it if you're
Oh, okay.
on
Sorry.
video, if you're looking at the Zoom.
Okay. On the phone, so it's hard to read.
Um,
It looked like people were not having much of a problem.
My takeaway is that we haven't really planned how we were going to do this enough. And if you just look at what they said from Washington, or what she shared from Washington, there was strict adherence to state guidelines, multiple meetings with Selectman's office to review plan and protocols. Any other unanswered questions were reviewed by the area DPH. Town has provided organizations with PPE, staffing. Most organizations underestimated the needed volunteers. We only needed police at one event to monitor crowds, and that presented no issues. From New Hartford, they've had 3 concerts, and a 4th is scheduled for tonight. That was last week. All great success. The ability to conduct the activity is solely based on the facility and personnel staffing. They have a huge field, can accommodate hundreds of people during normal times. Continuing to make announcements to use the whole field. Anyone using the restrooms has to wear a mask. Residents have been great. Continue to monitor our COVID data. No change in our data. Goshen, they had 2 monthly outdoor concerts. Layout of the area was important. Attendees registered through MyRec, including name, phone number, and number of people in the group. Attendees went through a temperature check and were asked how they were feeling at entry. Masks and hand sanitizer were encouraged. Bathrooms, swing set and slide were used at your own risk, and users were reminded, I assume, to wear a mask, but it doesn't say. Toughest part of the concert, people lingered and hung out with the band afterwards, had to provide reminders to distance. So I think if we could just agree on how many people, how many staff we would need, and what we're asking of them, we should be able to move forward, right?
Well, what about all this planning?
Yeah, well, that's like from my perspective, a lot of what we discussed last meeting, we just have to like agree on what that is, and maybe we could do it. This is where we left off.
Yep.
So at this, I think that, like, personally, I would like to put a plan together and have the Board of Selectmen approve the plan, and then we can move forward.
What are the steps to get the Board of Selectmen to approve the plan? What do we have to do? Do we have to wait for their meeting, or?
I don't know, we could request that they have a special meeting.
Mhm.
So we were hoping that we could start doing the concerts again, not next week, but the week after, because we assumed it would take about 3 weeks for us to get ourselves together.
Mhm.
So sounds like one of the big issues is how many volunteers and how many cars. We're sticking with the 50 cars. And then based on that number, maybe we can figure out a good volunteer number.
Sure. And I
Am I
know
right in
that,
saying that it was cut off at 50 last time?
I thought it was cut off at 40.
40?
I think so.
Okay.
whatever the number is, we wanted to have it be the same number, but we were increasing the distance between the parking spots.
Agreed.
And what we know is Land Trust said that they could commit volunteers or paid employees, and Lions Club is willing
Right.
Mhm.
to commit 6 to 8 people. And so basically
So combined, that's like 8 to 10 people combined, right?
well, we said there was 2 people for checking in, 2 people out on the road, and 2 people for parking cars as well. So
So that's
Okay.
6, and then that would leave us some sort of per car number for the event, like 1 for every 5 cars, 10 cars, I don't know.
So we could do 5 or 10, oh no, we're doing 40. 4 or 8 additional monitors, I guess you'd call it.
Mhm.
Oh, sorry. For some reason, I thought it was 50 cars, but I guess
Okay, well, the last,
I feel like
I didn't attend the last meeting, so you may be right. And I didn't hear anything about it, but
I didn't write it down, but do you
I
recall,
think
Blythe?
I think it was 50 that we were talking about last time, and if we're going to increase the space between the cars, it's not going to be able to be 50. I don't know, unless I mean they did say. I mean, I don't know how much of that field is left to increase space, and whether or not the stuff in the back is accessible to the band. Like, do people want to see the band? How close do people want to be? I don't know, but. I thought we were talking 50 at the last meeting.
Yeah, and I thought that we said we were going to increase the space between the parked cars without limiting the amount of people who could attend.
Mhm.
And we said we would allow them to sit in chairs, but they must stay within a box. And the box was going to be demarcated on the grass by it sounded like Connie Maines was volunteering to do that with the Land Trust.
Yeah.
So that head count seems pretty reasonable based on the commitment from those 2 clubs. Maybe we want to kind of quickly define the role of each volunteer group. I mean, I envision there'll be a kind of revised handout. At what point does that get distributed? Right away?
Yeah, I would think that we would want it on our website and then given out as well.
Okay.
So just let's reiterate the groups. We have the people on the road, right, Jay? I think John had said we need people kind of directing traffic in off the road. 2 people on the road.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can't
So-
see your notes.
Sorry.
Unfortunately, because I'm on my phone.
Okay,
like
it's 2
So-
people for checking in, 2 people out on the road, 2 people for parking cars. And then Mike said potentially additional monitors and a certain number per car, per maybe 5 or 10 cars. So we were thinking either 5 additional monitors, 1 per 10 cars, or 10 additional monitors, 1 per 5 cars.
Okay.
My take is probably 5 additional monitors
Mhm.
would suffice.
Yeah.
so how many total?
So that's 11.
11.
Abby, I just sent you an email. Did you get it?
I'll check in just a sec.
I broke it down for you.
Oh, thanks. So, first, volunteers at the day of concert are not to engage with the public in any matter This duty falls on employees of the town or deemed necessary state police. The following is a breakdown of volunteers divided into 2 groups. Group 1, for those volunteers unable or not wanting to attend the concert. Group 1, their job is to set up requirements outlining areas for handicapped to the left and right of the stage, then proceed to mark spaces, okay, using a template for cars up to 2 rows, then same for trucks. Equal maximum number of volunteers, 5 to 6. This task should be performed at least 2 days before event. So there's this group that sets the event up. It sounds like 5 to 6 volunteers. And then there's group 2. For those volunteers willing to stay till the end of the concert, there's two people for traffic control plus 1 SP. I don't know what that means, John.
State police.
State police. 1 person halfway up the field to hand out disclaimer for event, 2 people at the crossover, 1 field to the other, collecting signed disclaimers. And that was something that Jean recommended or mentioned at the last meeting. And then 3 people for parking cars and trucks, and later for exiting the event, including the state police. Dates and times could stretch out till September, maybe include a Sunday afternoon if the building is willing. So I'm just going to add
If the
this.
band is,
If the band is willing, right?
that's what I wrote.
Okay. All right. So I'm just taking what John just shared with us and putting it in here. And so thinking about that, from what I heard, Connie seemed to have a handle on marking out the field. So maybe the land trust is the group 1.
Sorry, that's me logging in on my computer finally. Yay.
Okay.
Yeah, that sounds logical.
Ugh.
Just so you guys are aware, I'm here for the land trust. This is Melissa.
Oh, hi, Melissa.
Just wanted to let you know I'm the representative.
Great. So you let us know if we're
Yeah.
doing something that we shouldn't be, overpromising the land trust.
Will do.
Thank you.
Connie's on vacation, right?
Yeah, Connie's on vacation, but she's gonna sign in from when she gets there.
Awesome. Sorry, technology sucks today. Okay. So group 1, 5 to 6, land trust. And group 2, I think we're still thinking 11. And this could be mix of Lions, P&R Commission.
I think you should put that the KLT will only do 4. So put someone else in that group.
Okay.
Maybe someone from Park and Rec.
Anybody who doesn't want to be at the concert should go there.
I can't make the concerts. Like to be there. I can't volunteer for this event, and I apologize. Did we still want to think about the I don't know what they're called, but Bonnie's group, the special,
The CERT team.
the CERT team? Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think they're certified yet.
Okay. Would that prevent them from being volunteers?
Her son and her were the only 2 that turned out without being certified. So
Okay. So in this, it also mentions the disclaimer. 2, 3, 5, 8. So here, John, 2 people for traffic control, 1 person halfway up the field to hang out disclaimer. Wouldn't we hand the disclaimer out when they come in?
Well, that's what I'm saying. When they come in, and by the time they get up to the point where they're going to cross over the field, they would probably have already, hopefully, signed it. And those people at that crossover will collect the papers, or just refuse them if you have to.
Okay, so
Can people turn around right there if they refuse?
Yep,
to sign the
yep,
disclaimer by the time they get
yep.
there?
Yep. There's plenty of room. Plenty of room.
What does the disclaimer say?
I don't know what
we don't know.
for.
We don't know yet. Basically, the disclaimer is going to say whatever the expectation is for behavior at the event. They're saying they're going to abide by
Mhm.
what we've asked. And if they don't, we still haven't decided how we're going to ask people to leave, but
Right.
that's kind of the big issue here.
Well, I was going to ask too about what does no engagement mean for volunteers? It's kind of,
Basically, if somebody is acting weird or strange or beyond the limits of their area,
Yeah.
you just don't, you don't pay any attention to them. Just bring it to somebody else's attention, somebody who's a paid employee of the town
okay.
or the state police officer.
Oh, okay. So we're also saying paid employees.
So how many paid employees of the town will be there?
I have no idea. That's up to them.
But we were saying that we wanted 5 people to monitor the event.
Right.
So if we
And that's
need,
basically to monitor behavior.
right, so a certain number of those would have to be paid employees of the town if we're gonna have we had been talking about training the people who are actually trying to talk to anybody who's not following the rules. And if what we're gonna do is not engage with them, but point them out to somebody else,
Right.
then those somebody else's would need to be a minimum. I would say if we're gonna have 5 people monitoring 50 cars, there should probably be at least 2 paid, if not 3.
Right.
And then, so it's 5 people to monitor behavior or whatever. I hate saying that, but that's basically what we're asking people to do. Of that, 2 to 3 people are paid employees, and their responsibility is to directly engage with patrons. But we also had mentioned like just asking the band to stop playing. So I guess the other thing is, to what degree do we even want to be engaging with the patrons? Or can we just say, band stop playing, if band has to stop playing a few times, concert's over. And nobody's directly called out in a personal way.
Well, hopefully you would mention it in that letter that they would sign.
And what is that we're mentioning?
Rules and regulations.
Yes, but what are they?
To stay within your confined space.
I think the way you roll it out there is that you say that everybody who's attending the concert has shared responsibility
There you
for
go.
the safety and success of the event. And that means that they themselves follow all social distancing guidelines. They stay within their spot. They, comply with volunteers and town officials.
Right.
They sign the disclaimer. They understand that, the town bears no responsibility if anybody gets sick. And they encourage their fellow concert goers to do the same.
Right. I agree. That sounds really good, wife.
Is the act of signing it feasible? Are we gonna, I don't wanna be sharing pens, right? Are we just giving pens, big box of pens, people can keep them?
Yeah, I think that's kind of what you have to do.
Okay.
How are the volunteers going to communicate with each other? Say, for example, at the check-in, there's a problem, and
Well, hopefully,
you can't leave the post there.
yeah, hopefully we can have some walkie-talkies.
Great.
There is good cell,
Um,
there is good cell service right there too, by the way.
Okay,
Oh, that's good to know.
so we'll communicate. Yeah. Do we have walkie-talkies?
No, we don't have any, but we could probably ask for the fire department maybe.
Would a suggestion of communication be doing just setting up a group text? Everyone having their cell phone, and then
Right,
that
that
would
would be fine. Yes, that's true.
set up a group
Right.
text. Everybody would be in on whatever those messages are being passed back and forth
Yeah, that's
Yep.
awesome.
as the suggestion.
That is a great suggestion, Darlene. Thank you. Going back to the text. So you sign the disclaimer, town takes no responsibility. If people get sick, we encourage your fellow concert goers to do the same. Social distancing. Do we have to identify or outline what social distancing means?
Yeah, we're gonna have to decide whether we want to tell people that they're allowed to take their masks off if they're out of their cars sitting in their square, if they're allowed to move around without, I'd say if you're out of your square, you've got to have a mask on.
Mhm.
I would hate to have some, if we're gonna have like a buffer zone between squares, right? So it's not that one
Yeah.
square will rub right up against the next one. So you stay in your square, you wear your mask if you are walking. I don't know where to go since there's no bathroom.
Yeah.
Really, you shouldn't be walking around. Don't go across the way to talk to somebody else who you see who's your buddy in another
Yeah.
car. Like stay.
Someone was walking a dog last time. I
How
thought
about-
I overheard.
how about
Are
no-
pets allowed?
How about no pets?
I feel like we could say that pets are allowed, but we're just being clear, like you're not, you're coming to our event, you're staying in your box.
Yeah.
We've made our boxes big so you can enjoy the event, move around, and get out of your car. And if you're going to decide to move between the cars, which we highly advised against, you have to practice social distancing, which is 6 feet apart and wear a mask.
So pets, you can have a pet in your spot.
Yep.
But you have to clean up after your pet.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And we need some kind of, didn't they say we need some sort of an isolation area or some area if people aren't feeling well during the event?
Yeah,
Wasn't that a requirement from the state?
it is.
So in addition to whatever handicap area needs to be set up ahead of the concert, we would also need to have a, place for, and then do you need somebody to staff that? Is that supposed to be, somebody passes out from the heat or isn't feeling well? Do you need a cooler with ice water in it and like a nurse? I don't know.
Can we get
Mm.
anybody from the fire department to help in this? You think?
Okay, so we want to potentially also, so state police, paid employees, so mix of the Lions Club, PNR Commission, state police, paid employees of the town. And I'm sorry, Tricia.
I said to help with this isolation area. Do you think we could get a volunteer or two from the fire department?
We'll have to ask.
Yeah.
Probably need some chairs in that tent too, if it's going to be a tent or an area.
Yeah. So are we saying that, so we are saying that a containment area must happen because that is part of the guidelines that the state put forth. And so like, to what degree are we furnishing the containment area? And so Bryce, what you're saying is a potential pop-up tent?
Yeah, I mean, a pop-up tent with a couple folding chairs in it. People need to sit down. We need a cooler with ice water in it.
That sounds right.
And then do you need somebody with some kind of medical background? I don't want somebody just wandering over to a sick tent and sitting in it with no one to check in on them. So I would say some sort of basic medically trained person.
That's why I suggested the
Yeah.
volunteer fire
I
department.
think that's a great idea. And I think we need some sort of document for all the volunteers so that they know what's, kind of what's expected. I mean, you can tell them, at least on the day of the event, it would be nice to know, what do I do if?
Situational
What are
type thing.
what are my, we had talked about kind of just training, but I think it'd be good so that everybody would know, look, here are the identified 3 paid people, and if you see misbehavior, here's how to report that, and people identify themselves. I mean, maybe the volunteers all get there 20 minutes before anything opens up and have a quick meeting or something.
Mm-hmm.
Jean called it something like on the fly training or something like that, just like day of event, quick presentation training or something like that.
Okay, and who leads that? Who trains the trainee?
Question. Especially if we're going to have, if we're going to have paid town employees who are actually certified to do this kind of thing, maybe, John, does it seem to make sense to have the cert people do the general orientation for the non-cert volunteers?
Yeah, if they're certified, yeah. It doesn't really take that lot, a lot to do
Yeah.
parking cars,
That's not what we're asking, though. It's not
I know,
about
but I'm
parking
just saying-
cars. I think it's more about if you see something that, A, knowing what to look for, and then B, knowing what to do if you see it. And then,
And it's just kind of a shared understanding. If somebody out on the road starts asking that volunteer a bunch of questions, you don't want to tell them they can't get their questions answered until they actually park their car. I
yeah,
don't know. Maybe I'm being overly cautious.
I don't know. I think it's better to at least have some situations for the volunteers. And then if we have like 5, then they can use their best judgment. Like, based on this, use your best judgment.
Was there any issue with turning away cars from the last concert?
Yes, there was.
Yeah, and how was that handled, and what happened?
We just closed it off because we had a maximum number that we could only attend to.
Uh-huh.
And they parked across the street in the other field, and they they were just harassing us constantly.
Yeah, that's probably the biggest issue you're going to have, turning people away.
Yeah.
Well, what about?
A lot of people get there. A lot of people get there late.
Yeah.
Yeah,
for
but what about if I like that idea of whatever town that was that had people register ahead of time. I realize maybe that
Mhm.
sounds a little silly, but we could deal with a lot of this stuff
Exactly.
Right.
very easily by having people register in advance. You register in advance, that way only 50 cars can even register.
Thank
Right.
you.
When you register, you're able to print out a ticket to get in. And if you don't have
Excellent.
that ticket that's got a number on it, your registration number, you
Right.
don't even bother coming. And
Right.
when you get your registration, you also then get, here is your disclaimer.
Mm-hmm.
Here are the rules of the road. Here is a sketched out map of the parking if we wanted to do something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Here are, here's what we're going to do if there's unruly stuff. Be
Yep.
sure to bring, a garbage container for your garbage and, things for your pet. And you can throw a whole bunch of stuff up there for people to see before they even decide if they want to register. I mean, I would hate for people to be like, yay, hooray, and then suddenly they get there and they're confronted with a disclaimer and a whole bunch of rules that they don't want to follow, and then they're
Right.
pissed.
Right.
Excellent,
Good point.
So
excellent.
can we use something like Evite? Like I'm
Well-
just,
Top
you
of
know,
my head, yeah.
What's the app that Washington used? She said in that email, but
It was My Rec, was it?
so can we just use that app or can we look it up at least?
I don't know what that is, My Rec. I just wrote it down.
yeah, we could look it up. So long as it, so long as the app enables us to put a disclaimer and you have to check the box that you agree to it,
Yeah.
and then you can get your ticket. I think that's what we're looking for
Yeah.
in whatever the app is.
And then we have a master list of who's got each ticket. You show up with your car and your ticket, and we can check your car against the ticket and the number of people you reported against the number of people who were in your car. And
Do we care how many people in the car, really?
No,
no, maybe not.
I don't think so.
no.
Just cars that Land Trust is,
I think the reason why they were doing that in this other scenario that Jean shared is because they're doing contact tracing.
Yeah, I mean, that's good. That's very responsible.
Sure. So we want to know number of people. So we have rather than just cars, how many people were at our event.
Yeah, it's not like we'll turn you away if you have one more
Yeah.
person.
Okay.
Just a
As long as the ticket matches their license plate number or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, is that what we want?
Yeah.
License plate?
that might be a little invasive. I don't know.
What?
License plate, I mean, maybe just make
Yeah,
and model of the car, but
I think maybe might be better. I think tracking people's license plates. I agree. Are you okay with that, Tricia?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, and if they're going to register with their name and their phone number and a contact number and stuff like that, then we don't need a license plate.
We need to see ID or any of that?
I don't think so. I think so long as they have
The ticket,
the
Okay.
ticket
you get a golden ticket, and you can.
and
go-
like there's only one, the ticket should have a number on it and
Yep.
like, I don't know how sought after these tickets will be and if people are going to photocopy them and try to get more people in.
Well, we'd have to have a list of all the ticket numbers,
Yep.
date.
Right, and once that car is in, that car is in.
car is
Somebody else
in.
shows up and says, "This is this." We say that car's already in there.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Figure it out.
in terms of the people, so the traffic control people, are those the people who are checking all of this stuff at entry?
I think
No.
that's different people.
So
Yes.
who? Okay.
But
So
now
there's
you can take all of
two
your.
traffic control people plus one state police.
Right. So the other two going into the crossover field would be the people checking in the documentation.
Right.
I don't know. And the one person halfway up the field isn't needed then to do the disclaimer.
Right. Exactly.
Awesome. And then we still have 3 people for parking cars and trucks. And later for exiting, 5 people to monitor. 1 screaming child. And should the people who are monitoring, well, I don't know. We'll have to figure out who sets up the pop-up tent and folding chairs and the cooler. And then 1 volunteer FD to stay with people who are sick. Yeah?
Yep.
Okay. So 13 people altogether.
Yeah, that's good. Lucky number.
Yeah. Damn it, we're gonna have this event and people are gonna have fun.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Okay.
That's 13 people divided by 2 groups.
Nope, that's 13 people in group 2. And then
Okay.
there's 6 people in group 1.
Okay.
I'm just gonna have to forewarn, I have 20 minutes left that I can work with you all tonight.
Hmm.
I think that covers that part.
So the volunteers looking good.
Oh, this stuff about like involving the band. And from what I understood, Jean said that the town would pay for the state trooper.
Okay, that's good.
So I guess like this, just like situational part, involving the band and to what.
Yeah,
the
if there's some sort of
involve the
hand
band.
signal for them, or
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it
There's a
might
lot-
just be like there's a person that the band meets ahead of time, and if that
Mhm.
person comes up and waves their hand, the band stops playing.
it's as simple as that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, the power.
I know.
I know, it's great. I think, was that Connie that recommended that, or was that Chris Garrity on the BOS meeting this last month? It was, yeah, it's really smart. Introduce person to band.
And I know, John, you made the point that we shouldn't engage with any concert goers. So does the band need to, how specific does the band need to be? Are people gonna, feign ignorance and, oh, I didn't know I was breaking a rule?
I'm sorry.
I'm just wondering, how specific the band needs to be if they need to stop playing, do they need to give instructions, or how are people gonna know that they're breaking rules?
Well, that's certainly something we can put in the disclaimer that they sign online, that they understand that what's going to happen is if the volunteers determine that social distancing is not being practiced or that there are other safety concerns, we'll be asking the band to stop playing and, issue a reminder.
Mhm.
So that way the band can say, you guys know what you're supposed to be doing.
Shame on you.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah, I guess I have a question, like, is there an MC who introduces the band and
Leslie.
says,
Leslie
don't forget?
Leslie
Leslie
Well-
does that every week, so
has that.
Okay, so I'm hoping Leslie's,
Well, she'll probably do a reminder.
okay. So Leslie, I guess I just like, in terms of Leslie, what if Leslie up until this point is not comfortable? So I assume we're going to present this plan to her.
Yeah, I did kind of have that question about what's happening with bringing Leslie back on board with all of this. She hasn't been in these 2 meetings. And I want her to feel supported.
Yes. I want her to support this,
Yeah.
especially if, she's the director of Parks and Rec. This is her thing. Well, are we giving them 2 warnings, 1 warning, 3 warnings? How many warnings?
I like
Well,
3.
Well, I was going to say 2, especially when you hand out that piece of paper. That would be the 3rd.
Yeah,
Yeah,
2
good
warnings.
point.
2 warnings in person on the night of the event. If it has to stop again, it's over.
Start out on probation.
We all have a same parenting philosophy. Okay, great. So she'll introduce the ban, a reminder that you signed the disclaimer. You know, I think that it's also worth sharing, like, we've adapted our original plan so that you could better enjoy our concerts.
And feel safe.
Yep,
Mhm.
feel safe. And can get out of your car.
We should call it safe and sound.
That's pretty good. I like that.
Yeah, I did too.
You sound like you're on the media.
You think?
This is our safe and sound plan.
There you go. That's great. I like it.
I like the branding the expertise.
Comes with years of experience, huh, Trish?
That's right.
So I've got all the measurements of different sized cars. And what I've done is I've done an average. And I can make a template using the 6-foot distancing and then the size of the cars in the front and then the size of the mid-size 2 trucks in the back. So using a wooden template, you flip it over a couple of times and you just have to use the lime or whatever we're going to use for spray painting. And the wood is easily taken apart and put away. So rather than taking a tape measure and going out there and just trying to do everything, it's going to take forever.
Mhm.
Right.
So is that something, are you going to be putting down the lines, John?
No, I'll be at the day of the
Local
event.
Land Trust, well, can't they do that? Help us with that?
That's Melissa.
We can help with that, but it sounds like John has a pretty good idea of a quick way to do it. So, and we can only supply max 4 volunteers or paid employees.
Sure.
Right. I can give you the templates. All you have to do is and I'll show you how to do it, and then you can go from there.
But you
Well-
guys are still going to provide at least one more. How many people do you think that takes, John, to set up?
To set that up, I would say 4 or 5.
Yeah, we need at least 1 or 2 more volunteers.
And so
Right.
what day does this happen on, like a Tuesday? Because the concerts are
We said-
usually on Thursday.
Yeah. You want to get it done 2 days before.
I think
Yeah.
you would have to do it probably just one day before because the grass guy will come probably on that Tuesday, and if the concert's Thursday, so
Okay.
we don't want to do the work and then have the grass guy come and cut it.
That'd be
So one
bad.
day before the task should be performed. Task.
Well, we should coordinate the scheduling of the event with the cutting of the grass.
Well, we do the grass and you guys pay for it as soon as we know when an event. We don't normally cut the grass in the field if an event is not going to happen.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know that at all.
It's usually harvested for hay.
Okay, so I'm able, but I work until 6 o'clock in the evening. So if this is
I would think-
happening in the evening, I'm happy to volunteer my time.
How long do you think it'll take, John?
I don't know. If you get people that want to work, it'll go by maybe within 2-3 hours. Get it done.
Abigail, what time could you start? I mean, I think that doing it in the evening before dark is probably wise, since then it's not super
Right.
hot and we're not.
Yeah.
Obviously, a little bit has to shift with weather. If it's raining that day, then we have to do it.
The
I don't
day
know.
out.
Well, we're gonna have to forecast.
I could say the earliest I could get out there is 6.
So that gives us 2.5 hours before
Yeah.
before sunset, and there's a little more light after sunset.
The other thing too is we should look at, after we get all done with this part, is maybe move the dates around or the days so that as we run into the fall, you have less light, and maybe you might want to do a Sunday rather than a Thursday.
I would agree.
All right, let's get through the first one and then we
Right,
can
yep.
see if we even want to keep having this concert series.
Right, I know. It's just like the sidewalk. It's like the sidewalk thing.
Oh, don't bring that up.
I mean, realistically, when are you actually even thinking about the next concert? If you are actually thinking about passing it through to the selectmen.
We were hoping we could have it, let me look at the calendar. So we were hoping BOS could look at things this first week of August, and ideally, oh shit, I'm on vacation. Ideally, we would have our first concert series the week of the 10th, but I won't be here. So
I'm out on the 13th and the 20th. So
yeah,
and then
you're out on those 2 days.
and then
So
Mrs.
those are the-
Everett's
yeah.
making me quarantine after that. So
Yep.
I know I have a compact I have to sign.
Yes, you do.
Okay. So yeah, this is, like
Like I said,
Momentum gone.
it
Going through
doesn't
the-
necessarily have to be that Thursday. It could be like the Sunday.
again, I think, well, we have to, so, okay, let's just note this.
Yeah, I don't want to skip ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's okay.
No.
It's so BOS review of plan, and I think that this is BOS and Leslie.
Can I ask why the Board of Selectmen is involved in this? It seems like this is a park and responsibility. I'm just curious.
It was recommended by other towns and what they did for planning their concert series,
Ah.
that having the Selectmen's office to review plan and protocol was recommended to us. I think because of the seriousness of what's taking place with COVID, we want to make sure that the selectmen are on board with our plan. Because if they're not, we are putting the local community at risk.
Alrighty,
So we want that to happen August,
13th.
the week of August 3rd. First show. What?
So wait, when is the next Board of Selectmen meeting? That would have to be at a meeting that they do that review, right?
I think we're
Joyce?
asking them to do a special meeting if we're going down this route.
Ask Joyce.
Right. Their next regular meeting is on the 18th of August.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
I also want to just interject, you may want to confirm before you go too far down into the calendar that you have a band available.
Right.
Like if you're looking towards a specific date, all this could be for nothing if there's no entertainment available.
That's where George comes in handy. George Potts.
George Potts. Yes, that's true. I just have a question. Was this all discussed? Did we plan this together in a
What's
meeting?
No.
Okay, because I know I missed a few meetings, but it seems like a huge event was planned, and I just don't
Yeah,
know what degree you all were involved in it.
did not talk about this ahead of time.
Okay. All right. And Lynn, are you representing the media in this meeting? Or are you representing yourself as a member of the community?
Little of both. I hope to write a story about it for the Republican American.
I'd appreciate it when you join our meetings that you let us know that you're covering the meeting on behalf of the Republican Americans, so we know.
But I'm a member of the public, so regardless, I mean, I'm a resident of Kent.
Yeah, I just think it would be nice for us to know that that's taking place. So who's gonna, so George Potts needs to,
I'll talk to George.
okay.
So can we set up a special meeting? Arlene, is that possible to give to them for this?
I mean, absolutely. You know, you have to contact through Joyce, through a Board of Selectmen email,
Right.
just your request of when you feel you've got your dates down
Okay,
for them to put together a special meeting.
all right, great, thank you.
But we have bands that have signed up, right?
Yes,
So should we also ask Leslie to go back and talk to these bands, or can George go back to the bands and just explain our situation?
I think probably the best would be letting George do it. I mean, he knows most of the bands anyhow.
Okay. Great. So next steps are, I think first thing we'd like to do is have Leslie review the plan,
Right,
confirm with George, sorry, that a band is available for August 13th. I think we need to confirm volunteers for both groups, you know, because now we know that Melissa and Abigail are not available.
That doesn't mean
Um,
that the KLT is not available. That just means me personally, as
Yeah,
a KLT employee, cannot be there.
yes. But I guess we were assuming you were when we were talking through this whole thing. So we just need so it still means that there's 4 KLT volunteers.
We will
So it's
figure out
more-
for volunteers, whether they're paid staff or volunteers, yes.
Right.
Thank you. So then set date. Well, before we confirm volunteers, share plan with BOS, request special meeting. Does that sound like the right next steps, everybody?
yeah, the only thing is with George, some of the bands might be booked up already. So we should be flexible with dates. Is that all right?
I think this is a lot of logistics that we're trying to work through. So like, it's 13 volunteers. That's a lot. So I think we could be flexible, but we want to kind of know as soon as possible.
Right.
What about
And
signage and communication with the public besides?
Sorry?
What about signage and communication with the public in terms of, you know, marketing this thing last minute?
Yeah. Because we have all those signs that we've already made,
Yeah, and they're,
which are beautiful.
and yeah, they are. But they're void, right?
So we have to like amend.
Men's signage.
Oh God.
Time to go.
Yeah, I have 2 minutes left.
And then researching those apps, I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's it's very expensive. I just looked it up. It's very expensive.
Try to find a free option, yeah.
You could probably do like a Google form,
Mhm.
Yeah, that's even
Great.
better, yeah.
and then it
Yeah.
populates a spreadsheet, and then you print out the spreadsheet, organize it how you want, whatever. You can ask people to say, do you have a pickup truck? Do you have a small vehicle? That kind of thing
Mhm.
also. As
Yep.
a question.
It's a great idea. Okay, so I'm going to put this into a document that will be our plan,
Great.
and I will share it all with you. I'd like you all to give it a look and just give a, hey, I looked at it and I'm good with it. And if you're not good with it, just to make comments in it so we can get it done. And then Lynn, yeah, we haven't heard much from you, but I'm assuming that you can handle the correspondence with Leslie to let her know we came up with a plan and we'd like her to review and what our next steps are.
From what I understand, Leslie will be out of the office for another week.
Do we need to vote on this?
Oh yeah, I don't know.
I don't
That's
know.
Darlene. That's
See-
Darlene.
Yeah, Darlene, are we making decisions?
Or are we just making a proposal and we don't have to vote on anything? But then will we have to later if the Board of Selectmen approves it?
I guess in my best opinion would be that if Abigail's gonna spend the time putting together a formal outline, that would have been the one that Leslie would have looked at. I would think that you as a commission would want to have that on record, that you're all in agreement of what's being put forward to the Board of Selectmen.
Okay, so after we review it, we'll just vote then, yes or no on
Right.
email. Is that possible?
No,
No.
No, okay.
Since the Lions and the Land Trust are helping out with this, and can we receive also the email that is the proposal?
Yeah.
Because we're
In
not
terms-
receiving this, some of this communication that has gone on has obviously gone on without the public seeing.
Some of this communication. Like the proposal that our plan that we're putting together for Leslie.
That's what we need to see, but we, things happened, like we didn't have any idea that it was even canceled, so we just need to be a little more in the loop, I think.
Yeah. Yes, we should, we'll have to hold another special meeting to approve plan. And then we'll share plan with our partners and BOS. Yes?
And that's the meeting at which we would vote?
Yep.
So we plan and vote. Okay.
Great. Okay. So we will do that, Melissa. We'll share the plan once we have it.
Thank you.
Oh, of course. Thanks for mentioning it. And Lynn, Leslie's out on leave till when?
I was told another week.
So we're on Monday, so this whole week, and then she's back on
Next Monday.
the 3rd? Okay. So I think we have to push everything back a week that we had originally intended,
There goes the summer.
right? Because if Leslie's not reviewing it until here, and we want to then ask the BOS to have a special meeting, we might as well have the BOS have the meeting when they're normally going to have their meeting. And this is a fall concert series, not a summer concert series, which is,
Maybe it's okay.
it's the world we're living in.
But when we talk to the bands then, John, you got to see what, I don't know if we were trying to confirm the dates of the remaining bands that had already been set up and they're now in limbo, or if we're just trying to say, gee, what's your availability through the end of September? I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I was going to look for, and and ask them for options for us. So
If
Okay.
it's a fall concert series, then maybe it needs to be a Friday, Saturday for
What
kids
happened
that
to
are going to school.
what happened to the idea of doing several bands on one night and just have one night?
I have no idea. That's the last thing I remember even saying in any one of our meetings. And
Right.
then I turned around and we were having the concert series. So
Okay.
I didn't hear about it ever again.
Huh.
I think because we're not doing portalets, if you have a longer concert, you would probably have to rent portalets.
What about just doing it for 2 nights, Friday and Saturday or something?
Like
well,
a concert
Friday
series.
I can't do it.
What, John?
Friday and Saturday I can't do it.
Okay. Like a Wednesday and a Thursday and
Or Sunday if you wanted to.
Melissa, what was the rationale behind Friday and Saturday?
Well, I think that if we're back to school, if this is a fall concert series and kids are back to school, parents aren't going to necessarily be able to.
Right.
And, as it gets dark quicker, you're going to have to make it earlier and earlier. So
Right.
now you're talking, when you send the kids back to school, all of a sudden it's dark as soon as you get them off the bus.
When you're send the kids back to school and you've been teaching them all day and working.
Well, there's that. But let's say that we're going to go back to school.
well, let's see when we can get bands.
Right.
We can get bands, August 13th and 14th, and that's it. Do that.
All right, well, that,
Can't
I just want to say that the implication there, that implies though that we are not having, we're gonna, we still have to wait until the August 3rd, until next week for Leslie to review.
Right.
Once Leslie reviews, we still have to have a special meeting and say that we agree on the plan. Then we have to have BOS review it. So
We have to put together all the paperwork and the
Yeah,
web
yeah.
forms. And
there's just a lot of logistics to this.
should all be been done in May.
Yeah.
Well, that's why
I will just say that this group of people, we are doing a really commendable job at working together right now to try to figure this all out, because I think we collectively agree that having a concert series is something we really are committed to doing and want to see happen, and that we are grappling with many, many, many logistics to plan for a concert series in the climate of COVID.
Good.
So I think that some of these dates and stuff, maybe we have to just resolve at the next time we talk. And I'll get this plan put together and share it with you. And Lynn, would you be able to schedule another special meeting for us?
Yes.
Do you think maybe the Google form should be done before the special meeting so that at least you can approve that at the same time as you approve the plan?
Yep.
Brilliant idea, Melissa. Do you want to join the Kent Park and Rec Commission?
Sorry, I've got enough on my plate already.
Just keep joining our meetings. Who would like to spearhead the forum? And I would say if you don't feel comfortable making the forum, if you just want to put together what the questions are, and I would say you'd also be responsible of writing the disclaimer text.
I can do a first draft of that.
And you'll share it with all of us?
Correct.
Bravo.
Some of that's probably
you.
available on the Washington Park and Rec site because they do it on their Park and Rec app.
Okay, I'll look there. Thank you.
I'll also share this document I've been working in, so you have it if it's helpful. Great. Can we call it for an evening, do you think?
Yeah, can you pass me that letter that you guys got from Gene and that on the other towns? Thank
Yep.
you. Did you get one, Mike?
Nope, it was to Jean, Blythe, Leslie, Lynn, and Tricia.
Not that you guys aren't special.
Oh no.
You are very special. All of us. Okay, so shall we adjourn?
Motion to adjourn at 8:09.
Second.
Thank you.
Thanks all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Abby.
Yep, take care.
Good brainstorming, guys.
Yes, great work.
Bye, guys.
Buddy.